The Muenster Football Show is brought to you by the Muenster Booster Clubs, Romer's Restaurant, and the Muenster Chamber of Commerce. Romer's Restaurant located at 217 East Division Street on Highway 82 right there in Muenster. You can give them a call at 940-759-2973. You can find them on Facebook. Just type in Romer's Restaurant. We want to thank Muenster Chamber of Commerce for being a sponsor on our Sideline to Sideline show the last few years, as we've been able and had a blast advertising Oktoberfest. Grant Goodwin, my co-host, he actually got to go out this year. Somehow, it's not been planned this way, but we've kind of alternated who goes out there the last couple of years. I wanted to go out there this year, but I had a prior commitment. And so Grant went out there and he had a blast, as he always does. And so we thank Muenster Chamber of Commerce for being a sponsor of them, but they're still a sponsor of this show for the rest of the season. So you can always go check them out online at muensterchamber.com. And we might be having a little bit more advertising in the spring during our realignment shows. Stay tuned for that. But thanks to Muenster Chamber for being a sponsor. The Hornets pull off the upset. They've got another one planned for this week. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Muenster Football Show, brought to you by the Muenster Booster Club and Romer's Restaurant. As the Hornets beat Wink 42-14. Outside of that special teams giving up the big kickoff, Muenster was able to jump up 13-0. And when you play a team that has struggled throwing the ball compared to where they were last year, that's what you want to do. And Muenster, coach will talk about it, bend but don't break defense at times, able to get turnovers, and that offense just quietly getting better each and every week. But we all know what's next. It's the Albany Lions. Right now, they're the Goliath of the block. Of course, won state last year. This year, they're 12-0. Might be even better defensively than they were last year, and they were really darn good last year defensively. This year, they haven't given up a point since they played Roscoe back in October 20th. And, of course, Roscoe is still playing. They're, in fact, playing Collinsville this week. And on the year playing good teams like Hawley and holding them to 14. Comanche, a 3A team that's still playing this week, and they'll be playing Gunner, holding them to 13. Again, holding Roscoe to 7. It's a tall order, but, it's kind of what Muenster does. Munster's kind of known for pulling off the upset when you least expect it. And I do think that, once again, playing a team where one guy gets a huge chunk of their offense, I think that does play into Muenster's hands pretty good. And I do think that can lead to an upset. As always, we're going to be talking to the head coach, Brady Carney. In fact, we're going to do that when we come back, right here on the Muenster Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Everybody back here on the Muenster Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And, Coach, you pull off the upset. You beat Wink 42-14. We talked about it last week. You specifically said y'all needed to jump out on them early. Y'all were able to do that. What were your thoughts on the game?
Man, first off, to open the game up, we gave up a kick return. That's way too long. They got the ball down at the 35-yard line, but our defense stepped up and stopped them. We got the ball back, and I think we went and scored on that first possession. But no, we came out. We bent a little bit here and there. We gave up a few long runs and stuff, but man, we never broke, and our kids played played really tough. Defensively, I thought we did an outstanding job. Offensively, we're starting to click, and we made some things happen on some busted plays that we've been doing the last few weeks. And this time of the year, you need that kind of stuff to happen, and it happened to us the other night. And we were able to have a huge third quarter, and they kind of laid down on us there towards the end, and we finished it off. But overall, I thought our kids played extremely hard, and I think they've been playing hard all season. We're just finally starting to click a little bit on offense and continue to play really tough on defense. And the turnovers were huge. We forced 4 turnovers, had 3 picks, a fumble recovery. Should have had one more fumble recovery, and somehow we didn't get it. I don't understand how we didn't yet, but we had 6 guys around the football. They had 1, and he came away with it. So, like I said, defensively played an outstanding game once again, forced a lot of turnovers, and we didn't turn it over on offense.
Well, and the turnovers, that's that thing you can never, as when you're trying to look and decide who's going to win a game, you can never know how it's going to work. But watching some of the film, Wink had some good plays. And you talk about that opening kickoff, and that running game at times got on y'all's edge, but y'all were able to, as you say, bend but not break. And I always say that's defense nowadays. It's not about going out and only giving up 30 yards a game. It's about controlling third down and getting turnovers, and you're usually going to win a game.
Yeah, and we did that the other night. I thought our kids did a really good job of that. And, we knew, kind of like playing Celeste, if those guys are putting it in the air, it's a good thing for us because that's not what either team does. Celeste is a ground and pound team, and so is McCamey. And when they were throwing the football, we knew we were in a good way. And like I said, we came away with 3 picks. Brody Tyler had 1. Connor Stillman, I think, had 2. Or maybe he had a fumble recovery. I can't remember. But anyway, it was a really good night on the defensive side.
Well, your reward for winning that game is you get to see a foe that you're familiar with. Albany, of course, defending state champs, haven't given up a point since October. You've seen them before. Y'all played them last year. What do you see when you see the film?
Man, I see the same thing I always see in that Coach Faith and his staff, who they stay really consistent with their staff, which helps, in my opinion. Do a tremendous job coaching their kids. They have a ton of talent, which they always have. And man, they play really, really good defense. And that's what you see this year. Defensively, to me, they're just as strong as they have been. Offensively, they may have taken a step back. And the only reason I say that is they don't have 3 dudes in the back end like they did last year that were really special. And I'm not taking anything away from 40 or 4 or any of those guys, or number 12 at quarterback. I'm just saying it's not Chapman and it's not Lefevre back there with Adam Hill. So offensively, I don't think they're quite as explosive as what they have been, but defensively, they're still just as strong as they've ever been.
Well, and that's the one thing that you and I have talked about, and you keep bringing it up. And just like last week, you were right. When y'all play a team that has a stud and a lot of other good players, y'all tend to play them well defensively.
We do, and I think that goes back to who we've played this year.
Yep.
Start with Bells. Not that they had one in particular kid, but what they did was run the football, and I thought we played them tough. You go to Paradise, and the Iglesias kid at the quarterback position, he's a stud too. And he got his that night, but it took him 22, 25 carries. And the same thing with Pottsboro and Major and those guys, McBride. He got his 4 touchdowns and his 200 yards, but it took him 33 attempts, And the thing with those guys is they played one way. Adam plays both sides of the football. And for him to carry the ball, if he needs to carry it 25 to 30 times, that's got to affect him on the other side of the ball, So if they lean on him as heavy as I hope they have to, I hope it affects him on the other side too, and it affects all of them, And I'm not saying that to be negative, but that's a different animal when you got to play both sides. You got to play 120, 130 snaps. Where Major and those guys, they play 40 or 50. Iglesias plays 40 or 50, and that's it. So. Yeah, man, we've played some good teams, played some good players, and that's the same thing we're seeing this week. So hopefully we take what we've learned from those games and carry it over to this one and continue to play tough on the defensive side. And offensively, we're making some things happen. Kaysen and Nolan are running the football well behind an offensive line that's just continued to get better. We've got Garrett Hess back, who's a tremendous blocker, tight end, a good pass catcher, and Dawson Both, who's our go-to wide receiver, has really stepped it up the last 3 or 4 games and really been that guy for us outside. So we're doing some good things. Caden Clement's another one I got to talk about. Just improved all year as a wingback and a tight end for us. doing a tremendous job up front, making some things happen as far as creating holes and stuff for Kaysen and Nolan. So, man, we're playing our best football. I said it last week, and playing a good team, but we've played good teams. So I think our kids are going to put a fight up for sure.
What's it mean for you? And it's special for every program, but for you personally, what's it mean to be playing football and practicing on Thanksgiving morning?
Well, that's what I told the kids. To me, that's in the state of Texas. If you're playing football on Thanksgiving, you've got a good team. You've got good kids that have done their job all year. And for us to get back here, which we've been here a lot the last 14 years, and we missed that opportunity last year. And to get back here, I feel like it's just a step in the right direction for our program, tradition-wise, to get back to that point. And we're here, but we're not satisfied. I think every team's goal is to play in December. And that's these guys' goal as well. But getting to Thanksgiving, man, that in the state of Texas, to me, that means something as far as your program and your football team. And to get back here, it means a lot for us.
And what will y'all do on Thanksgiving as a program? What's your routine tomorrow?
So it's not we practice at 9. We'll try to be done by 10:30 so the kids can get to their families and eat and be with those guys. And then we'll come back up on Friday morning at 8, eat breakfast and so forth. But tomorrow it's not too long. We don't hang around with each other too much. Our kids got families they need to be a part of, so they go do that and hopefully not eat too much and be ready to go Friday morning when we eat breakfast and get on that bus for that trip to Weatherford.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, I want to thank Coach Carney for joining, especially this week. I love this week. It's my favorite week when it comes to football. You got the Thanksgiving football, Dallas Cowboy fans, so watch that. They've added that third game on Thanksgiving night, which is usually a fun one. It'll be a fun one this year with San Francisco versus Seattle. Then you got the big college stuff, Texas versus Texas Tech. That's a big game. All the Big 12 games. It seems like there's a scenario for every team that if they do something, it will affect the Big 12 race. That's fun. Michigan, Ohio State's fun. And, of course, you've got the high school playoffs. And it's my favorite part of the year. But one of the harder parts is when you have these coaches shows, we have a schedule. And that schedule can get kind of broken up on this week because of not being in school, and then allows them to change when they're doing practices and stuff. And so appreciate him and the other coaches that I interviewed for this week. We've got 4 schools that are still playing. I appreciate them taking the time, and I always enjoy talking to Coach about Muenster, and we talk about other teams and just shoot the win there for a little bit, and then we do our show. So I appreciate him taking the time. And yes, this is going to be this is a hill to climb, no pun intended. I kind of chuckled myself. I said that to him off the air when we were talking, and Adam Hill's their big player. But this is a big mountain to climb, but it doesn't mean it can't be done. And me and him were talking about that. And I told him I was talking to a couple of other coaches about this game to a coaches, and more than one brought up the point that Coach Carney in Muenster tends to do that. They tend to pull that upset off, and I think you look at where the Hornets are this year from the beginning of the year to now, it's a completely different team. Now, they haven't beat everybody 60-0, but you can also make the case that helps the team. If this game gets into it and it's a one-possession game in the third quarter, we know Muenster's not going to blink. Muenster's been there before. Albany hasn't this year, and that's good on them, by the way. They've had one game that was truly, truly competitive, and that was the first game against Lubbock Trinity Christian. That was a 1-point win. Holly stayed around with them for a while. Comanche kind of stayed with them around for a while. But since then, it's been 1 shutout, 2 shutout, 3 shutout, 4, 5, 6 shutouts, and again, giving up 7 points to Roscoe. So there are advantages to being that good. One of the very, very few disadvantages is, how will that team respond in a game if it's in the third quarter of an elimination game? How will they respond? How will they act? So it's going to be an interesting game to see. Now, if Muenster loses, we will not have a show next week, but we will have a wrap-up show. We'll do the week between state championship and Christmas. If Muenster wins, of course, we'll be back next week. So let's just plan on being back next week. If you're going for the game to Weatherford, be safe. That's a great stadium. If you're going to travel for Thanksgiving and or both, please be safe. Remember, win or lose, this is just a sport. It's for fun. And let's plan on meeting back here next week, right here on the Muenster Football Show.